Starting off with Ralph Ehlers with that 5-liter LS Junkyard Dog Mustang Fox body from the 90s. Facing off against the Fortin Tire Chilliwack, Fortin's Orco Auto Parts, and AFD Petroleum S10 from 1985 with a 6-liter LS motor, on both sides of the track. On the opposite side, it's headed up by Mike Render. Throwing down the gauntlet early on the qualifying charts as he'll go 006 on the tree. Time into the racetrack, he'll follow that up with a 1068 at 119 miles an hour in the Lordco lane. TCS lane, Ralph Ehlers with a 1066 at about 28. Next up, it is Steve Baskerville racing against Dylan Scott. Baskerville running a 2022 5-liter Mustang out of West Vancouver, going up against the 1970 Chevelle for Yellowstone Local Auto Parts Advanced Diving. On the far side, headed up by Dylan Scott. How about this? Blair Criddle and Jesse Gard bringing it up alongside one another. Red on the tree for the Datsun. Jesse Gard gonna go to the top end, goes 1183 at 110 miles an hour, 1364 for Criddle. Bring up Bill Wells, running those new tires on his car after he found himself in need of them this morning. The TNT Auto Parts of Malibu going up against Brendan Piskacek for the Buick Racing Motor in Canada with Thomas Mustang Fox body. Wells 1164, 115 miles an hour. Piskacek 1314 at 101. Next up, it's Walter Johnson with the 72 Chevelle, racing for the Reflections, or against the Reflections Guest House SS Motorsports S10, headed up by Richard Love. Down track, Johnson gets there first, 11:15 at $1:14. Love going 11:69 at 110. Next up, it's Lucas Taggart running the 1970 Plymouth Duster against Steve Watkins, running that 5-liter Ford Mustang. Made it quite a few rounds in a pro bracket yesterday. Not able to finish the job, though. .038 to an .060 light as with Taggart going to go down track. Taggart goes 1165 at 114 miles an hour. Watkins 1196 at 117. Attention in the pits, attention in the pits. Vancouver Car Ram Sportsman, we need you to lanes 1 through 4. Sportsman, bring them on up, lanes 1, 2, 3, and 4. And Super Pro, you are on standby, along with motorcycles. So John McLean, running the Ford Falcon over here, tower side. He faces off against Chase McKenzie with the 73 Vega. Well, neither reaction time too stellar on that one. They're going to be looking for more. 1095 at $120 to McKenzie's 1091 at 123. Bring up Jim Banky and Chris Stone. Banky, just like yesterday, looking set to just get some points this afternoon with the wheel standing Barracuda out of commission for the weekend. Running the Scamp instead. Actually made it to round 2 yesterday when his opponent went red on the tree. So Chris Stone will be alongside him for the Stone Cold Racing Willowbrook Motors Dodge Dart. Now, Chris Stone doesn't leave. Jim Banky does. $14.83 to a 91. Stone will follow up with a 10:02 at 130. Bring up Dale Northgraves with the Ritchie Racing Engines Nova over here, tower side. Nothing on file yet for this car on the Lordco side, but I can tell you he's a newcomer that was not here yesterday. We believe it is Darcy Levinsky on the far side. 972 at 130 miles an hour. Northgraves 1035 at 129. Jessica Armstrong faces off against Mal Patterson. Malfunction Acadian to the top end of the racetrack goes 997 to the 132. Armstrong 1176 at 111. That'll bring up Cassie Tippie and Ray Bollinger. The 65 Nova Wagon and the 63 Just Mechanical A&A Customs Pontiac. Challenger goes 1047 at 125. Cassie Tippy, 1153 at 115. Daryl Stobie. Up next to the Chevelle, going up against Ross Walker. Hey, listen up out there. Attention in the pits. Attention in the pits. This is a message going out to all drivers. When you are coming up to the staging lanes, please make sure your wheels and wheel wells are clear of rocks, water, stray debris, what have you. Again, please make sure your wheels and wheel wells are clear of debris before you enter the stage lanes. Stobie goes 10:03, 127. Ross Walker 10:03 as well at 131. Only separated by 8 thou on the ET margin. That'll bring up Nick Douglas and John Tabak. The 2023 Charger going up against the Rat Torque Systems Titanium Auto Group S10. .1039 to the 127 miles an hour for Douglas, for Tabak, sorry. Douglas goes 12:11 at 111 miles an hour. And that brings up Rick McKinney running his super stock Camaro from '96. 3 Lucas Oil Drag Race Series wins under his belt, along with being a 3 times world record holder and a national event winner. He goes up against Terry Hookstins in his Chevrolet. Rick McKinney fires in at 10:39 at the buck 26. Hookstins goes 11:88 at 111. Next up, it's Craig Johnson and yesterday's winner, Rob Monroe Jr. with the Wind Harbor Marina. Gibson Racing Transmissions, Rides Paint, and Auto Body Acadian. Facing off against the BC Scale, Johnson's Customs Exhaust Malibu. Attention in the pits, attention in the pits. Super Pro lanes 1, 2, 3, and 4. That is Super Pro. Bring them on up, lanes 1 through 4. Motorcycles to 5 and 6. So once again, that is Super Pro, lanes 1, 2, 3, and 4, and motorcycles to 5 and 6. Hot Rod, you're on standby. Warner brings the Linden Service Center Plymouth to a 10:36 at the buck 26, while the Titanium and Bubba Speed Shop Monte Carlo for Lorenz Schwartz goes 10:09 at 132. Next up, it's Andy Klosky and Daryl Tippy. The Designs Floor and Lorco Auto Parts Camaro faces off against the Horizon Paint and Auto Body Chevy 2. So we bring up Jesse Gard and Eric Brittain. The Lavish Landscapes Kelowna 1982 S10 going up against the Half Fast 2 SB Grayson and Navy Hill Machine 70s Dragster. Rolling steadily through pro bracket as Gard and Brittain will go 1189 and 1358. Bring up Bill Wells and Dylan Scott. The TNT Auto Parts Malibu raised against the Yellowstone Lorco Auto Parts and Advanced Diving Chevelle. Scott, 1014, 129 miles an hour. Bill Wells, 1161 at $1.15. Next up, Mal Patterson, the Albion Tireland, Valvoline Oils, Malfunction Acadian, as well as Maple Ridge Express, facing off against Walter Johnson in the 1972 Chevelle. To an 023, Patterson down track and to go out the back door goes 1004, 132. Johnson 1105 at 120. Next up, it is Brandon Piscachet, the Buick Racing Motor Canada Thomas Ford Mustang Racing Kim Cornish, the 1977 Mustang. Cornish goes 1174 at 111 miles an hour. Piscachet in the left lane goes 1321 at 101. Next up, it's Cassie Tippy with the 65 Nova versus Darcy Lebedinsky with the 1969 Cougar. Taking off down track with Cassie Tippy in tow. $11.49 to the $1.16. Lebedinsky goes 971 at 138. Next up, Loren Schwartz and Steve Watkins. Titanium Auto Group and Bubs Beach on Monte Carlo versus the 2018 Ford Mustang. .002 for Loren Schwartz goes 10-10 at $132, while Watkins going to go 11.95 at 116. Next up, it's Mike Render, just coming off of a birthday celebration yesterday for the Fort Star Chilliwack, Fortin's Auto Parts, Lorco Auto Parts, and AFD Petroleum 1985 S10 goes up against Ralph Ehlers with the 6-liter LS Junkyard Dog Mustang Fox Body. Render goes 10.79 at 123. Ehlers 10.67 at 121. Next up, it's Ross Walker and Dale Northgraves. The Preston Chevrolet Chevy 2 racing against the Ritchie Racing Engines Nova. Walker, 10.03, 131 miles an hour. Northgraves, 10.33, 128. Again, Jim Banky racing that 7-3 Scamp going up against Chris Stones' Dodge Dart for Stonewall Racing and Wilbur Motors. Next up, it's John Tabak, the Rad Torque Systems Titanium Auto Group S10. Racing Rick McKinney, making his first appearance at the Titanium Strip this afternoon. McKinney goes 10.39 to the $126. Tabak with a 009 light, 10.45 at 126. Next up, Richard Love and Daryl Tippy. The Reflections Guesthouse SS Motorsports S10 going up against the Horizon Paint Chevy 2. Tippy goes 10.47 at 126 miles an hour. Love 11.66 at 114. Bring up John McLean and Lucas Taggart. The Ford Falcon versus the Plymouth Duster. McLean, 1092 at $120. Tangar, 1172 at 113. Craig Johnson brings up the BC scale. Johnson's Customers Exhaust Malibu Wagon, a race. Matt Warner for the Linden Service Center, Plymouth. Attention in the pits. Motorcycles to lanes 5 and 6. Motorbikes, bring them on up, lanes 5 and 6. Motorcycles to lanes 5 and 6. So Chase McKenzie was set to make another hit in the Vega, but he is being forced to back out. So Nick Douglas will be out on a single. So once again, we have made the call for motorcycles to come on up to the lanes. Motorcycles, we are calling you to the lanes. Motorcycles, second call. So first pairing up, John to back. Rad Torque Systems Titanium Mono Group S10. Dials in 1043 to Bill Wells at TNT Auto Parts Malibu. Dials in 1161. Peregrinans. John to back, chasing down Bill Wells. Gets alongside. Gets him on a double breakout. 200ths under for Bill Wells. John to back, just 2/10,000ths under the dial. When 1042.98 on the 1043 dial. Darryl Tippett, the next one up for the Horizon Paint Chevy 2, dials in 1045 against Dylan Scott. The Yellowstone Advanced Dive, the Lorco Auto Parts Chevelle, dials in 1015. Red light start for Scott. Darryl Tippett moves on. Rob Monroe Jr. brings up the Winter Harbor Marina, Gibson Race Transmissions, Rides Band Auto Body, Acadian, dial in 1052. Leaving just after Jesse Gog with the Lavish Landscapes Kelowna S10. And top end, Monroe will take the win. So Junior moves on into the next round, already on track to go back-to-back in Pro Bracket. That brings up Miranda Piscacek, the Buick Racing and Motor Canada with Thomas Mustang, dials in 1321. Eric Bertain brings up the half-fast 2 dragster for SBB Racing and Pave the Hill Machine, dials in 1360. Red light start for Piscacek, and he will not be getting the chance to compete in round 2 today. Bertain moves into the next round. Next up, it's Rick McKinney. Dials in 1040 for the 1996 Superstock Camaro, going up against Chris Stone. Stone Cold Racing, Willowbrook Motors, Dodge Dart, dials in 1002. Top end of the circuit, it'll be Stone as McKinney got there first, but goes under in doing so. Next pair, Nick Douglas, dials in 1214 for the 2023 champion, racing Darcy Lebedinsky with a 69 Cougar, dials in 960. Douglas, and Nick Douglas going to be out in that one. That'll bring up Jim Banky just here for the points. Going up against Dell Northgraves, 1380 to a 1031. Oh boy. Problems for Dale Northgraves. Car shuts off, and how about that? Second day in a row, Benke lucks his way into round number 2. So sounded like a bit of a smoke issue with the engine as they're going to push Dale Northgraves out and back. Tough break. And the report on the exact incident was an apparent carburetor fire, which of course has been extinguished. It was extinguished very quickly, so props to our start line crews who are getting on top of that. Of course, Dell is obviously okay as he is pushed back and out, and they're going to maneuver him around to the front of the tower where that car will likely be towed back to pit road. I can't imagine that thing's in any shape to run right now. So Ray Bollinger will be bringing up the Just Mechanical A&A Customs Pontiac, dials in 1046, compared to Mal Patterson. With the Albion Thailand, Maple Ridge Express Care, Valvoline Oils, Malfunction Acadian to dial in at 1006 in the right lane. Takes off in hot pursuit of Bollinger. .1014 at 125 miles an hour to Bollinger's 1046 at about 25 as well. So Bollinger knocked out by 2 thou. It was only 8 thousandths off the dial for Ray, but Mal got there 2 thou quicker. Just had him beat on the tree. Bring up Ross Walker with the 1004 Chevy 2 going up against Kim Cornish and the 1175 Mustang. And it will go the way of Ross Walker. Just 1 thou off of his dial. 1004 with a 1 on the 1004. Walker takes out Cornish to move on into round 2. Walter Johnson up next against Terry Hoostens. One of these drivers is quite green. Terry Hoostens trying to stay out in front with a 2/10 reaction time, and he's going to do it. Walter Johnson, too careful getting to the stripe, and Hoostens, only 4 thou off the dial, wins that one despite losing the whole shot race. Lorenz Schwartz dials in 1016 for the Titanium Auto Group. Bubba Speed Shop Monte Carlo against the Fortins Tire Chilliwack. Fortins Lordco and AFD Petroleum 1985 S10 dialing in 1082. Ren Schwartz goes 1038 at $1.17. Render 1106 at 115. Ralph Ehlers now up next for the Junkyard Dog Mustang Dials in 1068 against Cassie Tippy in the Nova at 1151. Attention in the pits, attention in the pits. We need Super Pro to lanes 1, 2, 3, and 4. Super Pro lanes 1, 2, 3, and 4. Motorcycles to 5 and 6, and Hot Rod on standby. Once again, that is Super Pro lanes 1, 2, 3, and 4. Motorcycles to lanes 5 and 6, and Hot Rod on standby. Klosky turns it red as Craig Johnson takes him out and moves on into the second round of Pro Bracket. That is followed up by Lucas Taggart and John McClain. Duster versus the Ford Falcon. Drivers on this pass quite green. It'll go the way of John McClain taking that one home. So the last pair then, Richard Love and Steve Watkins. The Reflections Guesthouse SS Motorsports S10 dials in 1169. The 5-liter Ford Mustang dials in 1197. And at the top end, Richard Love got there first, but goes under. Steve Watkins, only 2/10,000ths off of his dial, will be moving into the next round. Attention in the pits, attention in the pits. We need Super Pro to lanes 1, 2, 3, and 4. Super Pro, bring them on up, lanes 1 through 4. Motorcycles to 5. John Tabak will take out Darcy Levedinsky as the 89 S10 moves on. Now we'll roll up Chris Stone racing against Jim Benke. Jim Benke once again didn't necessarily think he could take Chris Stone, given that his car, well, goes slower than what the class allows. So instead, he opts to have his own race. Move on for John McClain and Steve Watkins. 1090 to an 1195. Watkins leaves 1 second earlier. Red light start for John McClain, as he is going to give one up to Steve Watkins. Watkins got it on a double red light. Only 6 thou red on the tree for Watkins. It was over half a tenth for McClain. Bring up Lorenz Schwartz and Daryl Tippy. The Titanium Auto Group up a speed shot Monte Carlo 2010-14. Meanwhile, the Horizon Paint and Auto Body Chevy 2010-43. And 1,000th of a second will see Lorenz Schwartz out and Daryl Tippy in. And that'll bring up Mal Patterson and Craig Johnson. The Albion Thailand Maple Ridge Express Care Valvoline Oils Malfunction Acadian race against the BC Scale Johnson's Customs Exhaust Malibu Wagon. And a double breakout, it'll go the way of Craig Johnson. Patterson got there first, under by more. That brings up Ross Walker and Ralph Ehlers. The Preston Chevrolet Chevy 2. Dowson 1007 against the Junkyard Dog Mustang Dowden 1068. And Ross Walker will take the win. So that will close out National Tire Wholesale Pro Bracket. Eric Bertain being the last one down. So next pair coming on up. It's going to be Eric Bertain with the half-fast 2 dragster going up against Ross Walker with the Chevy 2. Bertain gonna run that one down, but breaks out by 15th thou. Got there first, but it'll go back the way of Ross Walker. As we will bring on up Rob Getz and Steve Watkins. 11:01 to a 12:02 as we work through the third elimination round for National Tire Wholesale Pro Bracket. Rob Getz turns on the red light, and Watkins going to move on into another one. And that'll bring up Daryl Tippy with the Horizon Paint and Auto Body Chevy 2. Racing against Chris Stone with the Stone Cold Racing Willowbrook Motors Dodge Dart. Dials in 1003 to Tippy's 1046. Once again, we have made the call for the motorcycle finalists to come on up to lanes 3 and 4. Motorcycle finalists, you should be there up in lanes 3 and 4. Chris Stone takes out Daryl Tippy by 12 thou. Which will now bring up Rob Monroe Jr. with the Winter Harbor Marina and RV Gibbs Racing Transmissions. Horizon Paint and Auto Body, Acadian, 1052 to Craig Johnson says 1059 for the BC Scale JCE Malibu. Johnson out in front, trying to stay, and stay he will remain. Trip Zip with a 6, the margin of victory at the line. 6/10 thousandths of a second. Craig Johnson got there first.
TCS lane here, dialed in with a 10:59. Chris Stone in the Lordco lane, dialed in with a 10:03. This one's going to be a close one coming down to the stripe. One driver with a bit of an advantage. Chris Stone taking the win, going 10:01 on the 10:03 on a double breakout. Craig Johnson was 004 on the tree. Stone 013. But Stone going closer to the dial on the double breakout and taking home the win. Moving on into the final round. We'll see who he's going to go against. It's either going to be John Tabak or Ross Walker. Ignore me, that was wrong. This is not the semifinal, so he will not be moving into the final yet. He'll be moving on into the semifinals. That's what happens when you come in halfway through the day. So Ross Walker going red, 009 red, handing the win over to John Tabak. John will be moving on. John with an 063. Not his best light, but doesn't matter because he's taking home the win. And Steve Watkins, the new guy here, taking home a lot of cheddar the last couple days, winning his first race weekend here, and making it through quite a few rounds this yesterday and today. So Steve Watkins with the bye, going to take the tree here, mosey on down the track, and move on into the semifinals of Pro. John dialed in with a 10:42. Steve Watkins, 12:12 in the right lane there. Big advantage here off the starting line. And John turning that advantage into the win light. John going 10:39 on the 10:42 on a double breakout. But John was 0:14 off the tree. Steve Watkins 0:90. So a little bit tough to make that up sometimes. John turning that advantage into the win. Chris Stone coming in here, staging his car. He's got the bye here in the semifinal. Stone dialed in with the 10:03. So it's going to be Chris Stone taking on John Tabak in our National Tire Wholesale Pro Final. Stone 038 on the tree. Running it out, going 10:00 flat. 10:00 with a 2 on the 10:03 dial. Chris Stone dialed in with a 10:01 in the Lordco lane. John Tabak with a 10:38 in the TCS lane here. One of these drivers with a little bit of an advantage here, and that would be John Tabak. John Tabak going 008 on the tree, 10:40 on the 10:38. Chris Stone, 045, going 10.01 with a 5 on the 10.01, but that was lost at the starting line. So John Tabak taking home the win today in our National Tire Wholesale Pro category. Congratulations. And with that, that brings to the end of our day.